All right. So, I am excited to start it because Natalie, today
I do know Natalie.
You know nothing until you know yourself.
Exactly.
Well, did you know, Natalie, that it is the 10th episode, of course.
It is. I did know that because I titled my...
Yep.
Yeah.
Straight from Sesame Street.
You took the words right out of my mouth. That's what I titled this GarageBand thing.
And scene.
Oh my god. That's...
I
that
just went
Stavi?
on a... Yes, that's
Oh my
Stavros
God.
Halkias.
And scene.
And
That's amazing.
Yeah, I kind of went on a tear and just got way too many drops. I was like, it's the 10th episode.
Too many drops? What is that? What is that? Another language you're speaking here? Come on. You think Aaron Brown has two?
Seems pretty satanic.
After seeing all the drops that I had recorded and put on my phone, I was just like,
LOL.
Oh my god.
LMFAO. Bruh.
made that one myself.
That
old
one's
Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. Our Lord and Savior Aaron Brown would be proud of you right now. I want you to know that. Probably. I don't fucking know him.
You think he'd be proud of you?
Yeah. Who do you think I would make? You? God.
It's because you're an honorless, lying little turd.
Oh my god.
Speaking of Aaron Brown, I don't want to waste all these drops right off the bat, but anyway, let's get this out of the way. How is the weather there?
Smoky. Today,
Really?
the wind must have shifted or something, because today is way worse. Or I don't know what's going on with that fire that's going on, but it's not contained. It hasn't. I mean, it has. It's not. It's a problem. We have a huge raging wildfire, and it's very smoky. It smells like you go outside and it smells like smoke. So it's not great.
What?
I said it smells like smoke outside.
What?
I can't
What
hear
the
you.
fuck? What the fuck? Bro, this is such a funny take, dude.
Thank you, Hassan. He's part of... Hassan needs me. I'm worried about him. I'm worried about our society. I'm worried about men, actually, is what
You're
I'm...
worried about him?
Men. And him, because he's a man.
He is cold, hollow, and violent.
Oh my god.
Not all these work, but
That's exactly
I've been
right,
taking
though.
some notes.
Yeah. Taking some notes.
Here,
despite your
it's partly
promise to our
cloudy.
listeners.
It rained on me a little bit today while I was trying to work outside. Didn't
Yeah.
expect any rain, but I mean, it lasted like 4 minutes. It was fine, but pretty boring weather here. It was just mid-70s and partly cloudy.
Oh, it's been really
Typical.
super nice, though. The wind, or whatever, yesterday and the day before, it was so perfect fall weather, but it's hazy, but it was not as bad. But it was sunny in the 70s, just being out. I mean, you know it. It's a magical place over here. The amount of humidity, all these trees. It's when the weather's nice, good God, it's nice. Cool mornings, cold nights, warm, sunny afternoons. Ugh. Come on.
Seems pretty satanic.
I totally thought it was you the first time when it started, and I was like, oh, that's definitely Curtis.
I was worried about that, yeah. I was like, when he's trying to sound like an idiot, it kind of sounds like me.
It sounds like a voice you do.
Yeah.
It sounds a
when
lot
I'm
like your
doing
impression of me. Yeah.
my impression of Curtis Connor, yeah. So I don't know how we want to tackle this. You said you had something to talk about. I wasn't sure how much improving we'd be doing.
Now that you have all these drops, you can use them.
Well, see, that's the thing with having these drops and trying to improv with it.
Creativity to me is just like a bird, like a friendly bird that embraces all ideas, just like shoots Out of its eyes, all kinds of beauty.
Oh my fucking god, yes. That's amazing. Oh my god.
As soon as I heard that, I just thought...
And scene.
How did you find that? I mean, like, what were you do? Like,
I do things. Actually, it's because I was trying to find a shortcut around... Well, gosh, I'm just going to waste all of these drops. Just a drop extravaganza, but I was trying to find...
You know what?
oh,
And,
yeah, I told you where it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was trying to just find it on YouTube because I was already on YouTube, and I couldn't find it anywhere, but I was just in a season 4, like, best of thing, just, like, scrubbing through it, and that came up, and I thought it was pretty funny.
I want everyone to know that is my hero, Tina Fey, as Liz Lemon. And if you haven't sat and watched and enjoyed the show that is 30 Rock from start to finish, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah,
no,
it's pretty good.
It's really funny, and she's so funny. I mean, it's surprising because she's a woman, you know, how funny she is.
What?
Well, now that we got that out of the way, and despite using all the drops, I think...
That went slightly better than the worst it could have possibly gone.
Yes, yes.
Now I'm just going to keep reusing this entire board week after week, and it just won't... I won't have that creativity like a bird
Just shooting lasers
out of its eyes, full of beauty.
It's just like...
yeah.
She's amazing. Boo, fuck you!
I have a much worse one, like a long laugh thing. If we say something really stupid, it goes for 12 seconds.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
it really fills the time.
Yeah. Whenever we have
Dead air!
then we can just play some people laughing. Or we'll just play this.
Dead air!
Yeah, that would make more sense. But, so what did you have on your mind? You said you were saving something for the podcast, something that we try to do.
Well,
I figured since it's the 10th episode, I'm going to vape right into the microphone the whole time, so it's really annoying while you're saying something important.
I was thinking about, what is this? Just two guys having a conversation? Who wants to listen to that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I'd have to go to the other soundboard for that. So
your mouth sounds so full of vape.
weird, because I'm not even vaping right now. No, I'm just kidding.
It's just been a realization really about whatever you want to say. I don't know a lot of times I don't know how I'm going to start things and like where it's going to end up and how open I'm going to be about stuff and how it's going to...
What is this? Just a couple guys having a conversation? Who the hell wants to listen to that?
No.
Actually, and since I went, sorry to cut you off right when you're starting it, since you're already having a tough time just making fucking conversation, I forgot to introduce ourselves and say that it's Inane Blather, and it's the 10th episode. And
headstrong, stubborn, quibbling, self-centered, vindictive, obnoxious, hormonal, sexually preoccupied, evil, thieving, cross-dressing jerks.
Okay, I'll have to just add that to the overall soundboard.
Intro?
But go ahead, just go right into it. It was something about the patriarchy.
Yeah, I was going to say trigger warning, though.
Okay.
I mean, because of a thing that it could just because sometimes things can be shocking to hear. And it can be... Because it can be
trigger warning, shocking content.
About like domestic violence or rape and stuff like that. So I don't know if you can use that word in the trigger warning.
Boring. Yeah, trigger warning. I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah.
Like, oh god. Why didn't you give me a trigger warning for that trigger warning? No, I get you.
Just. You know how so what's the patriarchy? It's like the hierarchy of men being above women. Like that's what the structure of it comes down to. Like that's
what the word means.
Yeah, literally. Exactly. Like that is the hierarchy of this relationship dynamic, whatever. Yeah. So what that looks like in real life, like, there's just so much I have to explaining to do to get there. But I came to the realization that, okay, you know me.
End with start with the conclusion. You came to the realization that
that I have been raped on multiple occasions by an intimate partner, and I know this is new to you, and being my brother, it's probably interesting to hear. So I appreciate you listening. And what that looks like in real life. Me as a militant feminist, you know, how this loudmouth, blah, 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 woman who can be really taken advantage of when it comes to men and the desire to, like, please them, and how much you can justify in your head because you've been told that women are too emotional and your feelings, so you don't trust your feelings, and men think that we're too stupid or scheming or whatever to be trusted, so they have to do that for us. So that's why no,
and it gets reinforced in your own head.
And then victims start to victimize themselves. That's like internalized, that hierarchy and stuff. And so in thinking on and having this group of women around me in which pretty much everyone has an experience, some of them pretty mild harassment, and some of it rape. We all have these experiences. And in thinking about myself as one of these people that I care about, and it's so heartbreaking to hear the things that has happened to them and to know how it feels to be violated like that, then I start thinking more, because I've always thought about, because of the fact that I was molested when I was young by my mom's second husband. That's a thing that's a huge part of who I am and why I've become the person that I am, is this introduction to not just sex, but to not being able to trust men.
Yeah.
And,
right, yeah.
Like a huge, so then, but also wanting, like, and thinking that validation through what they want, and what they want a lot of times is sex. Like, some of these men, because that's what it is, are fucking animals, apparently, because they rape people and, you know, all these things. So, just...
Well, yeah, and that's interesting, like, the fact that, I mean, patriarchal norms and just living as a woman under the patriarchy, reinforcing that deference to what men want, like you were saying.
Deference,
reinforcing
that's the word I keep trying to find.
And then when you combine that with, well, you have this deference to men's wants, and you also don't trust men, like, just only feeds into you not trusting your own self and your own judgment and your own feelings. You know, whether you're not even trusting, whether you're being true to yourself when you're claiming you consented to something or not. You know?
When you know that you're saying no, and it's like, there's a lot more gray area in intimate relationships, because there is sort of, I feel like, some sort of implied consent, or there has been in the past, and I feel like the more, like, consent culture that we have, the better, because
intimate relationships with bad communication don't make consent explicit, because the communication isn't good.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And so there's times where it's like, okay, so just because I'm sexually attracted to you, we've had sex before, I'm sleeping in your bed or whatever, it doesn't matter. Like, if I'm saying no, you don't get to keep going. And then eventually it's like, so what happens is either you eventually struggle the whole entire time, or you give in, because what else is going to happen? Or
and then it reinforces that no doesn't mean no to them.
And then, especially if it's someone that you are attracted to and you like and maybe even love or whatever, or have this sick feeling towards, then you can enjoy things like that too. Because, like, and that's what's been used against women in court and stuff, like whether or not their vaginas were wet, whether or not they had an orgasm during rape and stuff. And it's like, those are you're sort of ignoring that it all, like, that was after the no. And, like, after a struggle. And then what else are, like, literally, then it's like, oh, you just didn't struggle hard enough. And it's like, so...
Ugh.
Okay, so this is obviously never
That's some
happened to
victim
you.
blaming.
Yes,
Jesus
exactly.
Christ.
It's
Yeah.
exactly right. Where it's really just.
It's funny how it can be just like to simplify something like that. How we can just flip. It's a common tactic just to flip genders and to make an analogy for men to try to understand things, where it's just like, just imagine if it was exactly like this to you from a man.
A man,
okay?
that's exactly
if
right.
you're a straight guy, like, how would you feel?
Someone
you
you're
know?
not attracted to, like someone that, it doesn't matter the gender or whatever, it's like someone that can probably overpower you and you do not want this with. No matter what that looks like, that's what it feels like, that you're helpless.
It's like, if you relented and gave in, like, do you now think that you weren't raped? You know? No, of course not. Like,
but then you start
straight,
to think
straight
that you
men
weren't.
would just recoil
Oh,
at the,
yeah.
the thought. Even imagining it is like a horror to them. It's like, yeah, exactly. So women have to go through all the time.
Yeah, a lot of women. And you know what I thought about, and even the way I was framing it in my mind was, laughter is an interesting thing. It's not because it's funny, it's because you need to laugh at it. Because otherwise it's pretty heavy stuff. Like, I had the thought... Thought it was going to be 12 seconds long.
Yeah, I'm not going to do the other one.
No, I had the thought, I let myself get raped. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so sad to think that. It's like, that's exactly, it's such an oxymoron. Like, it's like not possible to do that. And that's a state of mind of a victim of a sexual assault. Like, it's a really interesting headspace to live in. And it's really nice when you finally can get to the point where you feel that you were the victim, that you were not, like, that you don't feel guilty about that. Maybe it was you, that you brought this on yourself, you know, that you deserved it. And it, like, taking all of the blame and responsibility away from that other person and internalizing it. And then that gets into a really bad cycle. And I started mine very young, like that, and then working like in through high school, just very, very not healthy relationship with men. And I just come to realize recently that I'm so afraid of men. Not that I'm afraid that they're gonna, I don't really think about like, just in thinking about like, what is it about that makes me aware of their presence, is that they're gonna want something from me and that I don't want to give it to them. And I'm either gonna give in or I'm gonna do it and not enjoy it. And that thing is sex. And it's been really nice recently in my life to have men around that are my friends, that genuinely see me as a whole person, shout out to Zach, and like respect me and like don't expect anything of me other than to be like myself and to be happy. And they're not expecting, no matter what I dress like, these people I go to like raves with, I'm in like pasties, I mean, being like topless at parties and stuff and dancing, and like everyone's just cool, and it's like not a vibe of like feeling violated in any way. It's like a vibe of just like, you know, because some people are nudists.
Well, and that plays into that you know, large group of you know, those living through the patriarchy, just all those men who I don't even know how I was going to put it. Sorry, I was just trying to sound smart. No, it just that feeds in, goes hand in hand with why misogynists don't believe that platonic relationships can exist, where they literally, I mean, incel manosphere type stuff. That's a very common thing, is that, well, platonic relationships don't exist, and it's like, that is pure projection. It's pure and simple. It's like, because obviously it can. It's the worst thing about it is how rare it is because of fucking people like you. Not you,
and it's
but
yeah.
the manosphere person you're talking to.
Yeah, and it's even like, I know that these men that I hang out with, like, I'm gonna say, of course they find me attractive. I'm a beautiful woman.
Of course.
I mean, legit though. It's like most people would say that I'm beautiful. Like, I'm whatever. You would say it. I mean, it's it's something I've come to really appreciate, because you saw that drawing that I used to think about myself. That's like legit body dysmorphia. Like it's pretty
going
shocking
through an
and jarring.
entire process of drawing a picture of quote unquote yourself, pointing out all the ugliness of it. That's pretty brutal.
That was really hard to see. Oh, it's making me choke up. Like, cause I'm.
So should I not have posted it to Twitter? Or?
No, you know what?
I'm just kidding.
I sent it to my friends. I was like, "Can you believe this?" And they were like, "Oh my god, you poor thing! Like, that's so sad to think that you felt that way." It was like I got thrown back into that perspective of feeling so shitty about myself and hating the way I looked in the mirror and stuff, and always. So then, especially hating your looks and then wanting people to find you attractive, and so sleeping with them, all this whole horrible cycle I had myself in, and now I feel so beautiful. My style, I'm just like nailing it. And I have these men in my life that appreciate me, and they're like, "You look great, you're so stylish," and blah, 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 blah. And also they're like, "You're so smart, and you're so this, and you're such a great friend." And they never make me feel like they ever want anything from me. They're just appreciate
you.
Yeah, they're like, "You're just, wow, you're so beautiful." Like how you would be like to, wow, like what a beautiful person.
Platonic. Exactly.
Yeah, it's just like this appreciation of someone with no expectation of anything in return. It's like, because there is no sexual vibe
unconditional.
there. It's unconditional is exactly, and it feels like that's the thing about, like I think I said it before on an episode about women complimenting women is like, I love that for you. And men complimenting women is like, I love that for me. Yeah. It's conditional with men. That's why the male gaze.
I love that.
Yes.
That's
yes.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, aren't you happy that I love that?
Yeah,
that's
you
why
did that
I made
for
sure
me.
to tell you. Yeah. Oh, exactly. Well, all of this is because...
It's because you're an honorless, lying little turd.
So, I mean, that's what it comes down to. No,
yeah,
but,
I made all this stuff up.
yeah, hashtag believe no women.
And I also want you to know that all these women that I've talked to who have had these experiences, none of these have been reported. So when you talk about underreported statistics, it's pretty much like every woman, because the patriarchy makes men less human. And I feel really bad for men.
Like in an advantageous way societally. Like it's why, yeah, exactly. I mean,
because that's why they win at capitalism.
Normalize a divorce court for everything. No, not really. It's like the one place where men generally lose in a patriarchal society is the one thing that they latch on and complain about so much. Which I mean, there could be a whole thing about that.
Oh,
where
sure,
you could
it's so
talk about
unfair.
that radicalizing,
totally,
quote unquote normal men. But the normal man in America, it's. You don't want to get into the blindly leftist way of only blaming systems for people's behavior, but there's just that's why the patriarchy is such an important concept in the first place. It's like, because you can talk about, like you can discuss individual interactions and how they come about, in the context of, systems and how they're working. And, generally economic stuff is, highlighted so much, and it's a class struggle or race and racial divisions and stuff. And it's like, people just straight up say the patriarchy doesn't exist. It's like, no, I mean, let's don't even don't even go there. Like, it does. Let's
Don't
discuss.
even go there.
Yeah, don't even go there. Like, what? The patriarchy does exist.
That's
like,
why.
and then let's talk about these interactions within that system. Maybe you don't think it has the impact that someone else is saying it does, or maybe, you know, we can agree that it'll impact people at different intersections in different ways. But it's like, it's the between men and women, which is the 50-50 split of like everyone, you know, there is a system there. Like, that has, I mean, where there's at least some group having power over another. There's a class struggle there, just like everything else. Like, and
but
just
this
to
one
deny
is across every single culture, across every single class, across every single thing. It is humans. This is like a divide, a hierarchy between human beings with no other social constructs.
It's almost so
stupid.
No, it's almost so whatever that word is for ever present through everything. Gosh, I'm not feeling myself right now.
Oh, does that start with an O?
Yeah,
omnipresent?
No. Anyway.
Ubiquitous?
Yes, ubiquitous. Okay. That word that starts with O. Exactly. It's almost so ubiquitous that it makes it harder to see or harder to accept as being there.
It's hard to break down the patriarchy because it's at
even
the
more
root.
So than capitalism, you know, where it's like you come
it's
to
what
just
makes
accept
capitalism
it
possible.
as the way things are. But either way, going back to my original, you don't want to just say that systems put people in these positions. People put themselves in positions too, and men can't. You still have to take individual responsibility for what you do.
For sure.
No matter how much you've your entire life has been formed in a patriarchal system. And you may just not have enough self-reflection, or you have enough self-denial or denial of the facts to think that it's not affecting the way that you treat people, the way that your job works, the way that you interact with women, you know, or the way that you view people in the LGBT community or something like that. But it just does. Like, and it's not about blaming the patriarchy for how men act, but you can attribute the bad choices that they individually make.
You can hold individual men accountable for their actions and point them out to them so they can have the opportunity to grow too.
Yeah, and it's like denying that they got to this place through, I don't know, without... being propagandized into it.
They're victims of the patriarchy. They are. It's inescapable, but you have to know that they're victims in a different way of all of this toxic masculinity culture, and artificially putting them above women. That's not good. That's not good for humans to have that. Look at Jeff Bezos. Look at the Stanford prison study. Look at the police. Like, it's not good to have a feeling of superiority. So if everyone could be on the same level, it'd be better. They're victims in a different way in which they still have power over women, for sure. But I don't think it's good for men. That's why
they're victims of becoming the bad thing that they don't want to be, truly, if they're decent people.
Because they were all baby boys once. Look at you. You're a man that is a human man. Like, these other ones are like, I don't want to get into that because that's pretty, like, to say subspecies.
I'm a man.
Yeah.
I'm a man of a certain hue, and that's why I have so much patriarchal privilege.
And, you know what I'm really grateful for is the Me Too movement, because the Me Too movement made it so women don't have to settle for, like, rape.
That's our take on this podcast.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
That's, like, the lowest bar. And people are like, oh, women's such complainers. And we're like, we just really kind of like it if we could just not get raped. It would be really great to, like, be able to have bodily autonomy and have control over what happens like with the one thing that is mine for sure, that my consciousness is inside of this
it's all
vessel.
that you can truly know that you have throughout this entire time on this
It's
planet.
what gets you through your entire life. It's what holds your brain, and it's mine. And I should be able to walk naked without being touched if I don't want to be touched. I should be able to, like, legitimately, like, consent culture. Oh my gosh, it's so good to promote that. It's so much healthier, and just people being like, oh, it really ruins the mood to ask if you can do something. And it's like, why? Then you're doing it wrong. Then they're not that attracted to you, because anything someone's going to be saying in that moment is like, can I touch your ass? I'd be like, fuck
it's
yes,
only going
to
to ruin the mood if they say no. And so that's a good thing you asked.
That's
they
why
say,
you don't
yes,
want to ask.
I want it. Sounds like a pretty good mood to me.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah,
oh
if you're
yeah,
worried
you don't
about
want
them
to
saying
hear
no.
that your sexual advances are desired by the other party. Ooh, gross. Oh,
Yeah, it's because they know that they'll say no thanks, and so they're like,
yeah, exactly.
I
What a
would just-
mood killer. She did. She
said no, and I
she
did it
thinks I'm
anyways.
ugly and gross. You know.
Yeah,
doesn't,
or she just
doesn't know me.
wasn't in the mood, or just
No,
I
I-
said no, and I told you I got here. I don't want to, and you. So of course, because I said it, then of course you have to make it a thing. So then you could take it.
That
But
was
that's just
slightly
a guess.
better than the worst it could have possibly gone.
I had a guy. This is what it's like living as a woman. There's all these horrible things that men do to us. It's so strange, honestly, to tell it to men sometimes. There was a guy.
Well, at least you're just telling me.
Yeah, a real man, a boy. That's what it is. It's men, and then there's boys, because that is what it is. These immature, absolutely never grow out of like 14-year-olds. This guy made fun of me for being molested. When I said I didn't want to
God.
see him anymore, he was like, well, yeah, whatever, your stepdad wouldn't even want you, blah, 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 blah,
Oh
blah.
my
I was like,
God.
dude, oh my God.
Jesus, that makes
That's-
me want to engage in some toxic masculinity and go find
Yeah,
that
for
person
sure.
right now.
That makes me feel good. And it feels good to, you know,
God.
that nature of men, whatever sort of protective, because they're bigger than us and stuff, it is nice to feel that. It's nice to feel that when men feel like they want to do it because they want to do it, not because they want something out of it. I'll buy you a drink and get you a cab home, but you gotta suck my dick. Not just because, hey, I'm, you know, like
Yeah.
that's the whole life experience
Very
of women is
unconditional.
constantly, yeah, like is half of the population. It feels like it is a conditional relationship, and like it's always there, and like I was very easy to take advantage of for a long time, so I really got to see how there it is, and men can really be pigs and really fuck with your self-worth when this whole culture surrounding blah 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 whatever, the patriarchy and Christianity and slut shaming and all that kind of culture, and no
Yeah.
respect for someone you've slept with because they're good in bed. Some guy was like, ugh, he came at me like a porn star. It was like it grossed him out that I was so good in bed.
Sorry that we're trying to enjoy this here. Jesus Christ.
I know. It's like, and it's like egos and
When the
all of
same
that-
man would love it if he heard that the woman described him as fucking like a porn star. He would be so proud of himself. But
Yeah,
oh god.
I know all of this, and it's so much. I feel like the male ego that is talked about, you know,
the
like how it's
mego.
known. It's hey, that's good, but it's also because men are not allowed to break it down like women do, because we
Like
are
dancing?
allowed to be yeah.
Break it down.
Like, because we're allowed, quote unquote, to be vulnerable and emotional. We're expected to be talking
Yeah.
about our feelings all the time, and men are, you know, overall expected
to
not
be
to.
the emotional
And
ones.
yeah, and like you, the strong silent type, and all this where you're just, men have feelings too. Like, I think about little boys and little girls and how they're the exact same. Like, these are just little people, and men have things that they want to express, and they're not even given the tools to try to attempt to do that kind of work. And all of that obviously just
That's part of being a victim of the patriarchy.
Yeah, and yeah, I was just saying yesterday, my friends were like, I was like, men just want a mommy they can fuck, and it's so
Yeah.
true
Why
for
do you
men
think
that are
make
like
me
boys.
a sandwich
Those are
is like a
boys.
go-to joke, misogyny joke?
I
Make
saw,
me a sandwich. Yeah, like your mom put in your lunch, you know?
Yeah, I saw a girl on Instagram. She brought her man Advil. She had Advil in her purse, and like right when he needed it, he's like, "Oh my god, wow, that's so attractive." And she was like, "What's attractive? Being your mommy? like you're
No,
a grown
being
man."
a friend. Jeez. He's like, but yeah.
Yeah, that's not how it feels, though.
Yeah, I'm
Feel
sure.
you feel in charge a lot.
Babying someone, yeah.
You feel in charge of men a lot. I know a lot of women that say that have
Oh God!
kids and
like
a husband.
the jokes, the go-to jokes about helpless husbands is like so gross and patronizing and insulting.
Because you're a man.
Oh,
But there's boys.
especially as an unmarried man, where it's like,
I know.
What do you
Dad
mean
was
your
always really
husband doesn't
insulted
know
by
how
that.
to work the fucking washing machine? He's a piece of shit. Push him off a
Doug,
cliff. Like,
I have
don't.
a
It's not
friend-
funny.
I have a friend who has up notes in her house for her husband to help like around the house with chores.
Yeah.
So
No,
that's like
I don't even want.
I know.
That's
I
like
feel so
that.
and
Oh, that was some Twitter feuds. I don't know. That ThoughtSci made a whole video about that whole Twitter thing. About it really blew up for like a week. Gosh, I already forget the woman's name, but she makes like a kind of a comic web series, and a lot of it kind of puts her husband in that light, like jokingly or something, and it really became a talking point on Twitter, as everything does. And I don't know, I was kind of on both sides, where it's just like this, either this dude like legit sucks, or her joking about him like that is being shitty to him, because you're making this dude seem like he's that sitcom helpless dope that doesn't know how to do anything other than make frozen mac and cheese for the kids and sit and watch sports and have the wife do everything for him. I don't know. That's getting off topic.
so many of my friends' boyfriends. It's not like a lot of my friend group is more like sort of non-monogamy kind of lifestyle, kind of different. But
wow,
the friends that
really?
do have,
Jeez, I couldn't have guessed.
Yeah, but other people that I do know that have that kind
I'm
of
just kidding.
lifestyle, it's
More
like
domestic lifestyle.
No, it's like
yeah.
Doug. It's embarrassing.
It's yeah, exactly.
It's embarrassing to watch it happen and to know that women are trapped in these things. Some people are like, I would leave, but like I'd be homeless. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
have like because of. And I'm like, that's America. Don't put that on you that because you think that
Wow.
you're like lazy or whatever. You're blah blah blah. These people, different life choices you make, but it's like that's the level that a lot of women get from men. Like, it's not a lot. I think about laying in bed, like some of my friends, like so smart, like really interesting, creative people, so much going on in their mind. They're beautiful. And then, like, laying in bed, thinking all these thoughts and having a hard time sleeping and just blah, 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 and all of this. And then just their boyfriend's, like, next to them. Like, being like, I'm the better sex. Yeah. No. I mean...
Well, I'm good to go. Whatever.
Yeah, and just how much goes
Where are
into...
you crying?
Like,
Shut up.
It's really hard to communicate with men because of... Like I was saying about all this ego and like all these things that men have a hard time because they didn't grow up expected to communicate and be like emotional and all that.
Well,
so you have all these big thoughts and you have nowhere to put them in this monogamous relationship. I'm anti-monogamy, guys.
After all this hot
that wasn't
take
clear.
from NATALIE on the Inane Blather podcast, from known transphobe NATALIE, is that men and women are different, okay? They're biologically different.
In
I'm
the
just kidding.
patriarchal...
No, there we
within
go.
the patriarchy.
Exactly.
That's always within that context is what I mean, because who knows what humans are really like. I mean, how can you even say? I don't even know what that means. Like, we're in the patriarchy.
Humans in society, it just goes too far back. It's chicken and egg. But
bro, this is such a funny take, dude.
Okay, that's not really it. Well, Well, anyway.
I was gonna say
No, I'm just
something,
kidding.
but I can't remember.
like-
No, I seriously was like I have something, but I can't.
Well,
Dead air.
then
but
let's-
actually,
Okay.
I was gonna say, I feel like a whole new woman realizing what really happened with this.
New girl. Oh.
Now I can close my eyes.
Without screaming at night. No.
Yeah.
But no, that's. Oh, I was going
Like,
to say that
a
earlier.
whole-
The fact that now, because of the type of men that are in your life, is what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, completely changes like your day-to-day,
Yes.
like your interaction with the world. Like, your life is better, and it's like that's how powerful the patriarchy is your
that when
life
you escape it.
yeah well, I mean, just your level of happiness overall on your short time on this earth is so much determined by the types of men that you have in your life, whether it's the relationship, the intimate relationships you have, the friends you have, the father you have or don't have, everything like that. It's like,
Because,
that makes it so
within
undeniable,
patriarchy.
where it's like,
Yeah.
well, here's a case study right here, like how it's almost black and white for you, like as a woman living in America, and how much happier, undeniably, and how much better your life is going. I mean, just straight up like depression level is different.
Depression and anxiety. Kelsey said it. She was like, you seem like better. Like, you seem so calm, and just like, I feel it. I feel like my depression is like, I don't feel depressed anymore. I feel anxiety sometimes. I have a hard time with
she
that.
does slip lithium into your water, but she won't tell you.
I wish.
No.
Yeah. No, I do feel working through this stuff and having a support group, that is the way it's possible, because our traumas come from other people too. Like, we are affected by other people. We need other people. You need a support group of people that you can go to and feel safe. That's what it, like, safe to be yourself, because you can't really find yourself if you're always trying to protect yourself. And actually, shout out again to Zach. He said something like really profound. All right, really just struck me. It was like, yeah, it's he said when he finally found a safe, caring group of people to be around, he began to slowly realize how much he'd been taken advantage of in his life. And he said it can be more traumatizing processing it than living through it. It's very worth it, though. Because you're like kind of in denial. You have to be.
When
That's
you're
how
in
people,
the moment,
quote unquote, let themselves get raped. Like, you have to be in, because you have to protect yourself. Because of whatever is going on and whatever has led you to this point. But so then when you're deconstructing it, you're actively thinking about things that are horrible and having to come to terms with them. And
having to relive trauma in your head.
On purpose.
Yeah, purposefully, That's why
and actively trying to come to an acceptance about it and seeing it. It is like, I feel so much better seeing myself as the victim of this situation of rape by an intimate partner, rather than all of these things. It's like, how, because I always felt like I failed. Oh my God, my relationship with him was so incredibly toxic. And I just...
Well, that's on you, I think, is what the point you're trying to make is,
I mean,
right?
so I called him and I was like, please, can we get back together? And no, I called him and left him a voicemail, and I was like, don't ever fucking call me again.
I thought this through very carefully and wrote things out, and we need to get back together.
Yeah. Please. No, I said, don't ever call me again. I don't ever want to hear from you.
I'll fucking
and
kill
he was
you.
like, what happened? And I whatever, because we'd been... Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it just was very toxic, and being able
details.
to see all of it for what it really was, rather than through this lens of feeling
shame,
like guilty and shame, and like the perpetrator too, like that but it was like I felt like I did it to myself.
That's why you
but
feel
it was
guilty. Perpetrators are
and it was
guilty.
him doing it to
Yeah.
me, not me doing it to me.
Victims
And
aren't guilty.
Yeah, they're victims, and it's so sad to think about. Oh my God.
Well,
It's really sad to think about that it happens to a lot of people, and
yeah.
that to normalize talking about it, I think, is helpful, and to really, like, all the Me Too stuff, it's...
Yeah, just
if
talking
people
about it.
joke about it...
Going on
like,
a
yeah,
podcast
that's
like
what-
this, even if it's just a few people listening, that's pretty
There are
amazing.
dozens of
That's why I
us,
was gonna,
yes.
I was gonna say, oh, at the end. And unironically, though, because seriously,
Yeah.
that's kind of cool.
Thanks.
I was gonna say, not even close to the same thing, but analogous with just how, talking about something, reliving it in your head, things like that. It's true how tough that is. I always think about that, how it's like, man, even it was almost tougher than being suicidally depressed constantly to just actually say it to someone. Like, it was always like, I just always remember, it's like the first time I went to a doctor to get therapy and stuff like that, just trying to tell the nurse why I was there, I would burst into tears because it was so hard to do, to just admit something like that. And that's nothing on the scale of what you're talking about, where it's
Yes,
like,
it is.
well, I'm just saying, like, I don't want to, compare or downplay things, but it's
You're not. You're
that process is what I'm talking about. That process, just that one thing of even admission or saying that, where it's
Making yourself
admitting
so
that I was
incredibly
depressed
vulnerable.
or something. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Is saying, like, I can't, like, something is being done to me, right? Like, I can't
Yes.
help myself. It's not, just me. It's not my fault for not taking care of this. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, I can't help
This culture
it.
that we live in is not a safe place either. That's why a good group of friends is so incredibly important. Like a community of some kind that you can feel safe in. That's what I like my house to feel like, because
That's why I have dogs.
yeah, like
No
that's
joke.
why. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously though, people really need to feel like they can be vulnerable, because that's where you find like all like your deepest like joy and like letting yourself be uninhibited. That's the thing about children that we love so much. They have no insecurities. They're completely uninhibited and open to the world, and so optimistic and bright, and just it's
And if
not
they
in
show
any way
signs of
diminished.
insecurities,
Yeah.
you beat that out of them. Like, you're not going to be insecure. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
I was
I'm
berating
thinking like
Sophia.
toddlers.
Yeah, no.
or,
No,
like
exactly.
they're-
Children, infants,
And then society
toddlers,
gets to them.
yeah,
But-
exactly.
and-
Before the
Insecurities
patriarchy and capitalism and everything starts
making you feel like
forming
you have
their
to feel
malleable selves.
stupid
Yeah.
about things or shamed or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I think about it really stuck with me on a John Oliver episode about school sex education in like public schools, and how all of this really anti-casual sex or whatever, and anti-premarital
pro-abstinence
sex
stuff.
Yeah, that it was like talking about how women are like a piece of gum that's been chewed if they have
What?
had sex with multiple partners.
Good
and
Lord.
this one girl talking about it at a press conference, like she's like an activist for it, and getting really emotional talking about how she's a victim of rape, and how hearing that kind of stuff made her feel like a used piece of gum as a victim of that. And that was taught in schools, and that's like the culture of like the 90s and stuff, and like pro-abstinence.
Imagine going out and talking like that. Ugh.
Yeah,
That's
I
really got me
know. It's
thinking
incredible that people do that. It's really...
And why it's even more disgusting when people in the
Yes.
misogynist sphere just immediately dismiss it. Like, reinforce the exact bad behavior that they're trying to point out
Like when Christine Blasey Ford came out about Brett Kavanaugh,
God.
and people were like, why did it take her so long, and blah, 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 blah. I was like, well, it took me 10 years to say anything about my... Yeah, I was like, it took me 10 years to say anything about my mom's second husband molesting me.
Yeah.
But you better believe that if I heard he was going to the Supreme Court, I would definitely be raising a fuss about it. So maybe you guys don't know what you're talking about, and you've never been in a position where you had to pour out this very traumatic experience for the whole entire world to see. So
that's the problem.
Maybe think before you speak.
With these issues,
along with women,
along with a lot of others, it's like, you know what? We shouldn't have to make sure that you've also experienced this for you to have any sort of fucking empathy for other people. Like, where it's just like, it's like, well,
Men
of course you don't
empathy.
understand because you weren't molested or raped, or you haven't been a victim of blank.
Yeah.
And it's like, why do you have to also be a victim for you to get this through your thick fucking skull that it happens to people? Things like this,
because
it applies to so many things.
Sympathetic,
empathetic.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, any of that. It's like it's not. It's like, oh, just a baby. Just people complaining. People having feelings is whining. That's like a culture. That's our culture that we live in.
Meanwhile,
that's
they're
just like, oh, all these
screaming
feelings
at things. They don't show their feelings, except they don't realize they're constantly being emotional.
Yeah. Because they don't have a feeling, it's just anger. It's just a reaction to all these other feelings that they're having.
It's a fucking feeling.
Fear, disgust, humiliation. It's all embarrassment. It's all these things. Anger is such like a reaction or an extreme, the most extreme you can get because of all these other things that are bothering you.
But it's also a feeling.
There's righteous anger.
Guys just act like facts over feelings or whatever. It's like it's not possible, man. And you think that you're not putting your feelings into the conversation, or that people shouldn't. It's like too fucking bad. And you'll get mad at me saying that to you, and that's you getting in your feelings because you're mad. Like,
Yeah.
But let's shift gears, because we're already yeah. Because I wasn't sure. I was like, well, I wanted to prep for the 10th episode, and I took some notes. Like I said, I would never do. But
you're a liar.
Yeah.
You lie.
So that's note number 1. I'm a lying liar who lies about lying. So, no, I thought it was funny. I mean, because mine, these are...
you only tell the truth.
No, because I'm a liar.
Oh. And scene.
And scene.
But, and I thought it could be comic relief. Because you always have, more intelligent things to say. But I thought, my first note here, I decided just to take random notes. I don't want to actually put time into this, so I'm not totally lying. I'm not really putting much effort into it. First note is note to self, get a notebook and start taking notes to self. So I've got that.
Did you check that off?
Okay, yeah. The next one was just Gutsy, but it's Joe and Hunter Biden instead of Hillary and Chelsea Clinton. I don't know where I'd be going with that, but it's a note that I took down.
Mac.
Yeah. Come on, Jack. We're going to go get some ice cream and some crack. But, so I just think that would be an infinitely more entertaining program, at the least.
Oh.
Speaking of dissecting the patriarchy, through a show. No, and everything exactly the same, too, where it's a show about gutsy women, but it's Joe and Hunter that are like crocheting with them and bowling with Wanda Sykes.
The word cringe? Yeah.
Hey, like I sent you the other day.
You don't kill the part of you that's cringe. You kill the part of you that cringes.
That cringes, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Also, and I'll just do these ones that don't really lead to much conversation first, but I thought today, I don't know why I thought this was so funny, where it's just like, we have the White House, right? And the White House is the Oval Office. Mm-hmm. We have the Capitol building. It's like, who names this stuff? There's no creativity at all. Where it's like, well, this is a White House. Let's call it the White House. This office that's shaped as an oval. We'll call it the Oval Office. Like,
is this your type? Is this your type 5?
No, I just wrote it down today. I just saw the White House is what it just gets me. I think it's funny.
The Rose Garden. It's a rose garden.
It's this garden with a bunch of roses in it. Let's call it the Rose Garden. Also,
the Pentagon.
Exactly.
That's really funny.
Also, just a thought experiment: are dogs conservatives or liberals? Do you think dogs are conservatives?
I think they're smarter than conservatives.
Dead air.
I think you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
They're too smart to be conservatives. Hey, that's
maybe
a good point.
Old dogs are.
Man, there's some improv. Good job, Natalie.
Thanks.
Well, one thing, these other things that I wrote down, though, could be things we could get into later, or I could totally forget them. But I had been thinking of...
a number between 1 and 100.
Yeah, what is it?
42.
Damn, that's so far off. You're so stupid. Oh my god. What an idiot.
42?
You fucking moron. I thought you were my sister. It's obviously 101. No, but I was thinking about how I wish at some points it's like we could always fall back on just like politics themselves, I mean, we like discussing them and stuff. And I'd been thinking, just while I was just working, just by myself as per usual, about just one of my reactions to some political news and just further thinking about the Democrats' chances in 2022 and things like this. I was like, we could talk.
I'd rather talk about
electoral politics. Well, I mean, it's fun and interesting too. And then I had a thought. I was like, well, what the fuck do I know though? Even if I follow all this stuff, I'm no political analyst and stuff. And then I realized, what the fuck do they know? And why?
I was just gonna say
what makes political analysts any sort of experts at all? Because all you have to do is just go to whatever your favorite, news clip, commentary, YouTube is or something. Just go to the Majority Report and go back like 2 years and just listen to these analysts and experts making predictions or analyzing how races will go or what polling, even polling is like, where it's like, they're pretty consistently wrong because you're just analyzing and you're just making shit up. Like, what makes them any more of an expert than myself unless they actually have information from people on Capitol Hill? And even that is pretty dubious, when they get it.
I think that, they have, like, degrees in things, but...
so what?
I think,
then why are they fucking wrong all the time?
So they have, tools to, like, to draw from, but also it's like, what... I don't really understand how polling can... How do people not know who they're voting for?
Well, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
There's only 2 choices in any race.
Because I was talking today, too. We were talking politics when I was having lunch with Dad. And how I was worried. We were just complaining about Trump and DeSantis and stuff. And I said, on one hand, for me, and... I don't know why it matters because I'm no political analyst, but on one hand, I feel like I'm not really all that worried if the Democrats, as long as they don't run Biden or Harris, I would think any other Democrat that could win primaries and become the nominee could beat Trump for sure, someone who's never won the popular vote and is even less popular now, and definitely beat DeSantis, who really is a little big for his britches right now. I think politically, like
I think
it's
his
more
suit's a little
internet,
big for him.
yeah,
Did you
more
see
internet
that?
cachet. But as I'm talking about that, I was telling him, I was like, but then I'm listening to Nixon Land all day and listening to how things went for the Democrats in 1968, where it's almost exactly the same. This two-time loser, Richard Nixon, going up against the president, Lyndon Johnson, decides to step down, like I'd want Biden to do, and not run for the nomination. And we get all the jockeying for position and stuff. Hubert Humphrey loses to Richard Nixon, the known loser who had been gathering conservative support and all this and that. And I'm like, ugh. And then you look at the history and it's like it's all lining up like the Democrats might not win. And it's like, well,
Time
who
is
knows?
a flat circle.
Yeah. Oh man, and geez, that book is just the fucking best.
But okay, wait. Let's remember. We're talking Nixon's campaign versus Trump's campaign.
Yeah, that is one
Trump
thing I was
is
like,
full of buffoons.
Nixon
and let's see, what
Yeah,
else? What
Nixon
other kind
had,
of
like,
words
Roger
can we use to
Ailes in
describe
his
these
prime.
absolute
Yeah.
morons that had a Word document that was blank, that was like COVID protocols? Those are the kind of people Trump gets to work for him. Rudy Giuliani farting and sweating off his hair dye and pocket dialing reporters with information that they
Even
would.
Dad brought that up. He mentioned that
God.
today. I was like, yeah, you could have like a
Giuliani.
Mike Lindell be wiping it off. You got something on your face there, bro. Yeah, I guess if someone that's helping your political campaign just got arrested in the drive-through of a Hardee's and had his phone taken by the FBI, but
Jesus
you know,
Christ.
I mean, it's just.
Satire is dead.
But it's just especially as a Democrat skeptic, you know, someone who wants them to win because I don't want fascism to rule the United States. It's like, it's really tough to believe in these sacks of crap. I swear to God. Like, I don't know. It's already an hour, so it's like, okay. But I would like to do just a political analysis with you, just because, you know what? When it comes down to it, we could be just as right as people on MSNBC.
This is America. We can blab on as much as we want.
Exactly.
Who cares about who knows? Trump was president, Doug. Doesn't matter what you know.
Yeah, exactly. Like you could predict that. You could become president yourself. He did it.
Yeah. He's an absolute moron who can't read, and he was the leader of the free world. So anything's possible, kids.
And I think we start rehabilitating the Democrats by putting out a TV show on Apple TV Plus called Gutsy, starring Joe and Hunter Biden.
I like it. That's what people are wanting to see.
Episode 3 is, okay, let's go to the notes here, is interviewing the dog, the German Shepherd, to see if he's a conservative. I definitely don't want a German Shepherd conservative. It sounds a little problematic here.
See if he likes to play. The dog likes to play basketball and oil up a ball for him.
Yeah. What are you telling me? You shoot hoops dry? You got to put the oil on the ball, otherwise the dog can't get a good purchase on it. All right, yeah.
Purchase.
Airbud 2024.
I love that.
I would vote for Airbud, unless he ran on
over Joe Biden.
Unless he ran on the GOP ticket, like.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Well, that's the kind of the question you're asking. Would he run on the GOP ticket?
Well, exactly.
Find out next week.
Find out
Yeah.
in episode 3 of Gutsy with Gutsy with the Bidens.
God. No, thank you.
Tagline, we're getting up in them guts. Hunter Biden.
Oh my fucking God. That's right,
It's
Jack.
the patriarchy special. I actually had another note on here that I was like, well, that's something I could just rant about on another episode, is how it's something a little less heavy, but I'll wait until the NBA season starts. And I'm really into it because you know what? the left needs more sports ball representation. I'm sick and tired of people hating sports on the left. And I've talked to you about this before, and I will use this bully pulpit to shove all the leftist nerds into lockers who call it sports ball, okay? No, no. If you don't like sports, that's totally fine with me. But it's the anti-sports sentiment that I don't like.
I think that it's like, these people are artists using their bodies as like, that's their art. It's unbelievable what professional athletes and Olympians can do with their bodies.
And often,
it's
these athletes
incredible.
step
Pinnacle
up to the plate.
Like human physicality.
They step up to the plate, pun intended. They go,
nice.
Yeah. You know. But for us, like, I mean, you know, these guys in the NBA, like LeBron James showing up with hands up, don't shoot. No. You know, I can't breathe shirts. They're all doing this stuff. Like, they even, I mean, the players doing this is a lot less, like, pandering than, like, team owners and shit like that. And the NBA celebrates Pride Month. So I don't give a fuck what you're talking about. Yeah, the NBA owners, who cares? But if LeBron or Giannis Antetokounmpo or something like that, or the very few guys in the NFL that want to stand up and say something, you know, because it's an even more conservative sport, like, that's important. Colin Kaepernick is important, you know.
I agree. I think that Colin Kaepernick is a great litmus test for how racist a person is.
Yeah.
Like, how they reacted to him in the beginning says a lot about, like, how, what they were willing to listen to, or if they were willing to just take mainstream culture and, you know, be like a white supremacist, and just ignore him, like, from the beginning. I think that it says, I think it says a lot about, I don't think that, we could really go on.
I was going to say, we'll revisit that when I'm really hyped at the end of next month, because we're going to continue doing this podcast, even past 10 episodes. Can you believe that, people? But, I do want to revisit it. I was glad that I wrote that note down. Can you believe that people listen to this? I was like, that's something I like talking about. Hey, we had, like, 17 views on the last episode on YouTube. Yeah. I haven't even checked the actual podcast. I don't know why people don't just go on the podcast. It's better. But it's better audio quality. But
I listen to it on YouTube, so.
Yeah, I know, because you're dumb. Because you're a woman.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, that's what we've been talking about this whole time.
And it all comes back to that. Yeah. I can't be trusted. So when I say no, just kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah. You know what? You know how you should take in this podcast? Whichever way Natalie's not doing it, because she's a dumb woman.
Bro,
am I right, guys?
Such a funny take, dude. What the fuck?
Oh, I need to turn this up. Oh, shoot.
What the fuck?
Okay, that's better. But, that was something I wanted to revisit. So, okay, I'm glad that I would take random notes. Actually, the thought of "Are dogs conservatives?" is literally a shower thought that I had right before coming to the podcast.
Our Dogs Conservatives
like
sounds
ago.
Like some douchebag bro. It's like, hey, welcome to Our Dogs Conservatives, or whatever.
Our Dogs?
But you're like R, like letter R.
Hard R Dogs. R word dogs.
Yikes.
Yeah, this dog, he's not doing too good. He's not very smart.
He can't get a purchase on the ball.
He can't get a good purchase on it. He's gonna be the fucking Michael Jordan of dogs.
You should put a link to that in the YouTube description so people can know what the fuck we're talking about.
Racist stuff in there. That's why it's
a comedy
funny.
Thing.
That's why it's funny.
It's a comedy special. People don't have to watch it if they don't want to. They don't have to agree.
You know what?
Not all leftists have to agree on whatever is funny.
Yeah.
So we're all on the same team here, guys.
And you know what? Thanks a lot, Natalie, for keeping me on Twitter so I'm in more leftist infighting. I had to put down the phone the other day. I was like, I hate the online left so much sometimes.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not on it. I'm glad you're doing that. Thanks for doing that. That's why I'm in such a good headspace, and you're just doing all that work for me. I appreciate it.
You're in a good headspace, having a great time with friends. Your home is welcoming and inviting. you're feeling pure joy, and I'm in the shower before a podcast thinking, are dogs conservatives? Or just like on the way to work, pulling out my phone while I'm driving to type the note, Gutsy, but it's Joe and Hunter Biden.
And I have a note here that's all huge letters. I actually wrote a little bit like what I was talking about earlier. I said, I'm a whole new woman with a whole new reality, and all like exclamation points, all happy. And you're like,
well, yeah.
Air Bud, but he's GOP.
Yeah. If Air Bud ran for president, would he be on the GOP ticket? Or would he run as an independent? He's a libertarian.
Ooh, I almost like that.
And scene.
Okay, well that'll wrap it up.
Thanks, guys. All right, we'll be here next week.
This one.
All right. No.
Yep, this is the long one. Thanks, everyone. Make sure to tip your servers a lot because of capitalism, right? Am I right, folks?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Hey, they know what's up. They know it.
Dead air.
I was enjoying the applause.
Yeah, well, shout out to R.M. Brown, our Lord and Savior.
Our Lord and Savior. Love him.
I look forward to editing this podcast. We got about 45 minutes at the beginning. That's a little too heavy.
Hey,
no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I want to say thanks for listening to that, too. And anyone who's listening, it feels good to talk about and to feel like
that's why
people are listening.
I didn't really want to like downplay it, but really just I kept focusing at the end on just like, man, just the fact of talking about something like that. Like, good on you.
Yeah. It gets easier,
especially
though, and that's like when you said...
because you're also being able to admit that you're happy. So,
yes.
Yeah.
And it feels... It's interesting, yeah. And the more, like you said, you had a hard time saying that you were suicidal, and it, like, choking you, like, to the point, like, crying where you can't talk about it, those are the things you really need to talk about. And that's what my...
Yeah, if you're gay.
Dad's wife... Yeah, Dad's wife really helped me with a lot of this grow without going to therapy, and some of the stuff with like my molestation and being like able to talk about my daddy issues, quote unquote, you know, like with just a overarching thing with men, and a father who was not very affectionate. You know, our dad's great in a lot of ways, but not like come here and hugging and being like you're so beautiful, and just like not that kind of man. So to already have blah 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 and like trying to talk about that as an adult, she was there to listen with no judgment, even as things that would be hard to say about someone that you love so much, like your own parent, and have to admit that there's ways in which they failed you, whatever. And like even talking about, you know, at the beginning of talking about that, I could hardly get sentences out. Yeah, like it would be, and she would be pushing, kind of like, well, what, you know, what are you trying to keep going? Yeah, and it was nice to have a place to go.
When you say that, like, you know, you tell someone, well, you should talk to someone, or just the thought, yeah, you should talk to someone, that doesn't just mean you need to go to therapy, which, I mean, of course I advocate for, but it's like, no, the first step, like, literally just verbalize it. Just because, and that's so tough. That's a first step, no matter who, and of course the sounding board that you're verbalizing to can make a difference, but no, the biggest difference being made is that you're verbalizing it. So
starting it, admitting that something happened, and some of that, not even, it can be really, really hard to say those things out loud to someone. So even writing things down, getting things in some way into the physical reality of the world, rather than just in your head, where you can make it so abstract that you can turn it around to where you were not the victim in the scenario. Writing it down, I wrote down on this thing that I was going to say today, I said, I was raped by an intimate partner on multiple occasions. And it really helps to know that is what happened. Yeah. So
yeah, we heard you. Okay.
Enough. One more time.
Women, am I right, folks? No, I'm just kidding. No, I love you, and I love you too. Let's cut it off right about here.
Now.
Now.